ले रही हूँ प्रभु जी।
आराम से। Yes, thank you. So Arjun had asked the question, how do I understand? Because the sun god Vivaswan is way, way elder to you. So the Lord responds to that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Bhagavan बहुनी मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थ परन्तप. Let's go to the translation. The personality of Godhead said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Purport. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5th, chapter 33, we have information, one second, of many, many incarnations of the Lord. It is stated there, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. I'm sorry, it's in Brahma Samhita. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktav Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning. Although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original, the oldest, and the person, always appearing as a fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, all knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood by even the best Vedic scholars, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. It is also stated in Brahma Samhita 5.39, Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishthan Nana Avataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Sambhavat Paramah Pumanayo Govindamadi Purusham Maham Bhajami. Am I audible?
Yes,
Haribol, am I
yes,
audible? Okay.
yes, प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Madhu. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govind, Krishna, who is always situated in various incarnations such as Rama, Nrsimha, and many sub incarnations as well, but who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna and who incarnates personally also. In the Vedas also, In the Vedas also it is stated that the Lord, although one without a second, manifests himself in innumerable forms. He is like the Vaidurya stone, which changes color yet still remains one. All those, one second please, all those multiforms are understood by the pure unalloyed devotees, but not by a simple study of the Vedas. Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktav. Devotees like Arjuna are constant companions of the Lord, and whenever the Lord incarnates, the associates devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. Arjuna is one of these devotees, and in this verse it is understood that some millions of years ago, when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god Vivaswan, Arjuna, in a different capacity, was also present, but the difference between the Lord and Arjun is that the Lord remembered the incident, whereas Arjun could not remember. That is the difference between the part and parcel living entity and the Supreme Lord. Although Arjun is addressed herein as the mighty hero who could subdue the enemy, he is unable to recall what had happened in his various past births. Therefore, a living entity, however great he may be in the material estimation, can never equal the Supreme Lord. Anyone who is a constant companion of the Lord is certainly a liberated person, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. The Lord is described in the Brahma Samhita as infallible, Achyut, which means that he never forgets himself, even though he is in material contact. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respects, even if the living entity is as liberated as Arjun. Although Arjun is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord. But by the divine grace, a devotee can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord, whereas a non devotee or a demon cannot understand this transcendental nature. Consequently, these descriptions in the Gita cannot be understood by demonic brains. Krishna remembered acts which were performed by him millions of years before, but Arjun could not, despite the fact that both Krishna and Arjun are eternal in nature. We may also note herein that a living entity forgets everything due to his change of body, but the Lord remembers because he does not change his Satchidananda body. He is Advaita, which means there is no distinction between his body and himself. Everything in relation to him is spirit, whereas the conditioned soul is different from his material body. And because the Lord's body, one second please. And because the Lord's body and self are identical, his position is always different from that of the ordinary living entity. Even when he descends to the material platform, the demons cannot adjust themselves to this transcendental nature of the Lord, which the Lord himself explained in the following verse. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagan Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamshta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभयश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। The superior position of Krishna has been, described at length by Srila Prabhupada in this purport. The verse very simply states that many births Arjuna and Krishna both have taken. Krishna remembers all of them, and Arjun cannot remember any. Prabhupada used this, and he didn't use it. I think from here the class would begin. Dear devotees, there is a difference in the position of the Supreme Personality and a living entity. And that difference has been highlighted by one example. There are many examples by which you can highlight the differences. So, Here, the example that has been taken is of time, eternity. Uh, if you pick up a pen and a paper or a blank A4 sheet, on left side or on one side of it, if you put, you know, if you create a box and just write divinity or oblique God or godliness, on the other end of the same paper, on the same side, you write living entity, oblique conditioned living entity, even liberated living entity. So now, and you mark a line in the middle of the page and give number one as the difference. And we say time scale. So when we say time scale, the living entity is forgetful and the Lord remembers everything. So that's a distinction between God and man. Uh, Let me try and sensitize you. Sometimes when a statement is made, uh, it does not shake the intelligence sufficiently to generate appreciation for the Supreme Lord. Krishna remembers everything. Do you know the maths about it? 84,000 thoughts we get in a day, and we are 800 million people, 8 billion people living here on this planet, only humans, I'm saying. And they are constantly generating thoughts, not about same topic, about various topics. Somebody's property, something to eat, some scrolling to do, someone who you need to kill, multiple thoughts. And now, these 84,000 thoughts multiplied by 8 billion people, and Krishna has been doing it since time immemorial. He's saying a few million years ago, I gave this knowledge to sun god Vivaswan. You can't understand it, Arjun. And you were also there. I know in which form you were. I also know during that lifetime what all you thought. All you DRDO devotees, the purpose of this series of Bhagavad Gita classes is to develop genuine, unforced affection by understanding intellectually the position of God. Here, one example has been taken that God has following characteristics. On the characteristic of eternity or remembrance, Krishna remembers everything and we do not. But it doesn't mean we don't remember anything. We only remember what has happened to us in this lifetime. If you could, visualize or imagine what I was trying to convey. 8 billion people, 84,000 thoughts. And I'm not talking about 1 month or 12 months or one lifetime. The mammoothness, the vastness of this whole thing is maddening. It bewilders. How can one individual do so? Whatever has happened in the past, Arjun, I know. And whatever will happen in the future, that also I know. Instantly, people think, then you are the one who is doing it ultimately. So then why are you punishing us? You're just having a good time. You're entertaining yourself. That's where a major mistake occurs. Just because I know what will happen to you doesn't mean I'm doing it. If some of you found it difficult to understand, I repeat. Just because I know what is going to happen to you does not mean I did it. Similarly, Krishna doesn't do it. We are given three modes of material nature, and we cherry pick and make decisions. Like these Westerners have this concept of you make choices and then you have consequences. So make a choice and be ready to face the consequence, good or bad, both. And that's very true. But the way we tend to think is when we are facing a negative consequence, we are wired in a very strange way that we start thinking God did it to us. Accident, poverty, poor health. None. God knows that because He has done XYZ, He made these choices. So therefore, He is going to face it. God also knows He did these many good pious activities, so He is going to get these benefits. But God doesn't interfere with the free will of the living entity. Due to our um, jealousy of the superior position of the Lord, we continuously think ill of Him. Ill in the sense, why are you not letting us enjoy unlimitedly when you have all the facilities? A father likes a responsible son, then he can enjoy. But an irresponsible son can finish himself, and therefore he is given restricted enjoyment, which is called regulated enjoyment. There was a science experiment done on a mice, on a set of mice, and some 10, 12 of them were in number. There was very nice, palatable food which was kept on one side, and on the other side was a vibrator which could vibrate their genitals, and because of which the every mouse would feel joy. And majority of mice went towards enjoying the genitals. They didn't go towards the food. And one of them was so fascinated, not fascinated, so interested and attracted that he continuously went there, and he died because of overindulgence. If Krishna gives us unlimited freedom, we won't be able to survive. We will kill ourselves by unlimited enjoyment. Rag dvesha vyavasthitau. Therefore, there are rules and regulations to regulate. I don't like it, I love it. This is one is rag, another is dvesh. Rag means, oh, I love it. Dvesh, I hate it. You have to regulate both. Because if you hate someone, you will kill him. And if you love someone, तेरे इश्क में बन जाएगी. Those of you who watch movies. So this kind of a nature of living entity, it has to be guided by the Vedic wisdom, which you, dear devotees, are receiving now. So you are trying to understand the nature of divinity. The entire exercise is what God does, what we do. What God has, what we don't have. God likes sacrifice. We like enjoyment. Distinction. If we like sacrifice, we become liberated. Why do we become liberated? Because we will not break the rules. There is a person in jail, there is a person on the road. The person sitting in the jail may think that the person on the road is free, but the person is on the road is free under the condition that he doesn't break the rule. If he breaks the rule, he'll go to jail. Similarly, the liberated persons, by definition, don't break the rules. Otherwise, they are also in jail. And here in the purport, is the last part of this verse. Here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that even the liberated living entities, they also can't have equal capabilities such as Krishna. So whether we are conditioned or liberated, we can never be equal to God. That's why the two verses from Brahma Samhita 5.34 and 5.39, Advaitam, you're only one Krishna. There's no one like you. Achyutam, and you never fall down. Though you are in constant touch of material energy, which is Maya, but you never get carried away. I mean, if I just take this one line, the whole class will get into that. You can't. Once, the god of love, Kamadev, he became really puffed up. He said, I am really good. I can move anyone. And he reached out to various demigods. And demigods who were very intelligent immediately said, Dear Kamadev, it's okay that you told us that you are the best, but never tell it to Lord Vishnu. So Kamadev thought, now nobody is comparable to me, only Lord Vishnu. He went there. And do you know what did Lord Vishnu said? He said, Kamadev, I give you two opportunities. One is when I am in the form of Nar Narayan Rishi in Badrik Ashram, you come over. I won't have a single thought of you. That is by distance. This is by Vairagya. And then he said, when I'm performing pastimes in Bhauma Vrindavan, I will enter into Ras Leela with the most beautiful young women, and you try your level best there. I won't get moved even a bit. Both ways. He's so amazing. If you can perhaps relate with what I'm trying to say, hundreds and thousands of young women surrounding the Lord and ready to offer enjoyment to him. And he doesn't get moved. And Kamdev attempted every possible thing, but he couldn't touch Krishna. Krishna only proportionately reciprocates. That is his nature. You can't affect him. He loves the feeling that you put when you cook bhog for him. He loves it. So the intensity with which you cook bhog for him, that intensity he reciprocates to. But if you don't offer bhog to him, will he terribly miss you? He won't. Because he's Atmaram. If you miss him, he will miss you. That is for sure. That because reciprocation is his nature. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tatha bhajamyaham. That is Krishna's nature. He reciprocates. But can he not manage without us? Forget it. We need him. He doesn't need us. So then one should understand that how great, when they say God is great, what great? Because he can remember everything. We can't. Because he can peep into the future. We cannot. Not just past, coming future also. And he's our well-wisher. So by this verse in Bhagavad Gita, you understood a feature of divinity which distinguishes divinity from conditioned nature. So you became enriched with some information which is bona fide. So now I know, okay, why Krishna is better than us. Last thing on this verse, when you connect the verse to the purport, you will see that there is a principle in the verse that God is superior as far as the feature of memory is concerned. That is what the verse is saying. Arjun, Krishna, and Vivaswan is the proof or the example of it. Prabhupada corroborates the information by citing two more sources or two verses from one more source, which is Brahma Samhita. He said, yes, this is true. Then he uses Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadi, Anantarupam. He highlights that the difference between a living entity and the Supreme Lord. So, what we get by reading verse as well as purport, we understand the principle, we understand the example given, and then we read the reinforcement of the information. This way, our learning of Bhagavad Gita becomes solid. That's why Srila Prabhupada says, if you read my books scrutinizingly, you don't need anything else. Now that you have understood one feature of divinity, let's move to the next verse and try and cover that. Mataji, please go to the next verse. So here he is saying, Ajoapi san vyayatma bhutanamishvaro san prakriti swamadhisthaya sambhavamya atma mayaya. Man, this is so strong. This verse is so good to read. Those who are listening, all 13 of you besides me, uh, just out loud read it by wherever you are. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, by my internal energy I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Reading it in Sanskrit gives tremendous joy. Swadhishtham, Atma Mayaya. Atma means self. Mayaya, by my own internal energy. I appear Swamadhishthaya, original transcendental form in which I am. Though I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and though I am the Lord of all, I do it. So let's understand this from this purport. The Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many past births, whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it would be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He would surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he was doing exactly at the same time one day before. And yet, men often dare claim to be God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Then again, the Lord explains his Prakriti or his form. Prakriti means nature, as well as Swarup or one's own form. The Lord says that He appears in His own body. He does not change His body as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has a different body in the next birth. In the material world, the scroll down, that's it. Living entity has no fixed body, but transmigrate from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does so in the same original body, by his internal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in the material world in his original eternal form, with two hands holding a flute. He appears exactly, I'm sorry, in his eternal body, uncontaminated by this material world. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and is Lord of the universe, it still appears that he takes his birth like an ordinary living entity. And although his body does not deteriorate like a material body, it still appears that Lord Krishna grow from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth. But astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth. At the same time, at the time of the battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home, or in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material calculations. Still, he looked just like a young man, 20 or 25 years old. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age because he never grows old like us. Although he is the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present, and future, neither his body nor his intelligence ever deteriorates or changes. Therefore, it is clear that in spite of his being in the material world, he is the same unborn, eternal form of bliss and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Factually, his appearance and disappearances are like the sun's rising, moving before us, and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun has set. And when the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is in the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position, but owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of any ordinary common living entity, it is evident that he is eternal, blissful knowledge by his eternal potency, and he is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unborn, yet he still appears to take his birth in multi manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literature also confirm that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body. In the Bhagavatam, he appears before his mother as Narayan with four hands and the decorations of the six kinds of full opulences. His appearance in his original eternal form is his causeless mercy bestowed upon the living entities so that they can concentrate on the Supreme Lord as he is and not on mental concoctions or imaginations, which the impersonalists wrongly think the Lord's form to be. The word Maya or Atma Mayaya refers to the Lord's causeless mercy. According to the Vishwa Kosh dictionary, the Lord is conscious of all his previous appearances and disappearances, but a common living entity forgets everything about his past body as soon as he gets another body. He is the Lord of all living entities because he performs wonderful and superhuman activities while he is on the earth. Therefore, the Lord is always the same absolute truth and is without differentiation between his form and self or between his quality and body. A question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse. It is naturally a very complicated verse to, you know, go through. Mataji, you can now remove it from this. First is here the aspect of sun rising and setting, and the cause is not sun, the cause is our limited senses. So let us start it from here. Imagine that your eyesight could go, we all are staying in India. So I'm saying from here, if our eyesight could go to UK, then we could see sun's movement up to UK. Imagine if it could go to US, then we could see the sun's movement up to US. Now imagine if it could come back all the way, towards Australia. We could see almost 2/3 of it. And if you could see up to India again, full circle 360-degree. My dear devotees, then we will see that sun never sets. I am seeing it with my own eyes that it never sets. By inference also, now we know this truth. From this one eyesight alone, we can't do it. Okay, fine. But then because we are many in number, and when we cooperated, we came to this inference. One of us, people like Galileo, Copernicus, Vasco da Gama, all of them, through the sea route, somebody said, the earth is round. Somebody developed a telescope to watch the movement of, the sun and the moon. And now we can infer, very clearly we can infer that the sun never sets. If each one of us could develop that eyesight, then we will see that the part in which I am living right now, I am standing here. It's dark. But right there in UK and all the way up to in US, it's exactly opposite for that matter. So currently it is 9:15 or 9:13 here. People in US have just finished breakfast, at least in one zone. So how can we say sun has set? It did not. Now take this example and superimpose this example on the activities of the Lord. So in this planet, please now understand it carefully. In this planet, the Lord appeared. And now, right after this, he has appeared in the next planet. He is out of our vision. He hasn't disappeared. He is out of our vision. Is there in the next planet. And there are innumerable planets. And the Shastra gives example of waves in an ocean. Krishna's incarnations are like multiple waves. Let me increase the complexity a bit. It's like the Lord has killed Putana here, and the next instant there is another Putana in another planet. And the Lord kills there also. because he can be at the same time in multiple places. But even if you want to understand it first sequentially, when he gets out of our vision, he's performing it somewhere else. And he comes back to our planet again. So then we can say that, okay, disappearance doesn't take place. It's out of our vision. If I'm there available in next planet, I can see it. So then who can see it? Narad Muni can see it because he can go to all the planets. So he can relish Krishna taking birth in another planet and the next planet and the next and the next and the next. And then the Lord reappears in our planet again. But sun never sets. It just goes out of our vision. Similarly, Krishna doesn't disappear. Due to our defectives, it's like in one house you are living, you are sitting in one room. You can't see other people. That doesn't mean they have disappeared. Just because you can't see, they are very much in the house. If you take a few steps, you'll be able to see all of them. Similarly, if you develop devotional service, you will be able to understand that the Lord never disappears. So ordinary people appear and disappear. Krishna doesn't. He's extraordinary. Now that we have understood, it also means that he never appeared also. He came before our vision and he went out of our vision. That is the proper understanding. I repeat, he came before our vision and he disappeared out of our vision. That's it. He never took birth, he never died. So once you understand the examples given by the Vedic literature, then you understand Janma Karma Chame Divyam, I appear and I disappear. But my appearance should not be taken like birth and death, because I am not helpless to appear and I am not helpless when I disappear. Atma Mayaya, by my own internal energy, I appear. And then I move to the next one. I am very much, it's my own house. But your vision is limited. You have restricted vision. Then Prabhupada uses, by his causeless mercy, he gives the example of that dictionary where the meaning is given. Prakriti, nature, form. And nature means, one is, nature means how we think, behave, that's our nature. But it also means Swarup. Our form also means our nature. Because out of our nature, our form is born. If I have a nature to overeat, then I will have a obese form of body. If I have a nature of being athletic, I will have a thin form of the body. My form is born out of my nature. And Krishna's nature is causeless mercy. What does that mean? I will appear and perform activities which are born out of divinity that will inspire the living entities to align with my nature. I will give them this opportunity, though they have chosen to stay away from me due to their ignorance. Sambhavami swamadhisthaya atma mayaya. I make it possible. This is his compassion upon us, that those of you who are right now not facing any bodily difficulty, any financial difficulty, can't relate with what I'm saying. Just cannot. But very soon, when your resources will be taken away by the old age, by the circumstances, then it will instantly hit that, man, this is a misery. It's a combination of good feeling, then misery, good feeling, then misery, 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 feeling, feeling, misery, good, misery. Can I go to a place where there is no misery? Then you refer to Vedic literature. Then you read Bhagavad Gita. This is his causeless mercy. He appeared, he gave this Gita. He gave this Gita, you and me are reading it today. Then we are feeling his presence while we are discussing him. All of you who are right now listening attentively can definitely feel that right now you're connected with divinity, not intellectually. Krishna is right there. You can experience him because we are associating with his Vani. We are trying to understand his nature, so therefore we are feeling proximity, closeness with him. By the example of sun, you understood the concept of appearance and disappearance, not birth and death. Birth and death are forced. Appearance and disappearance is due to causeless mercy. So then we understood Krishna's nature in a very different way. He is not forced to come here. Due to compassion, he comes here. And he inspires us to become transcendental in our nature. Then we can enjoy like him. This is his compassion upon us. Now comes the next thing. Prabhupada talks about another superhuman feature. He never grows old. In the battle of Kurukshetra, he only looked like a 20 or 25-year-old. Lord Ram lived for many thousands of years. He also never looked old. There is childhood, and that also, here there is another distinction. Prabhupada says, while the Lord appears in multiple other forms, this two-handed form of Krishna holding the flute is his original form. He appears in this also. So Prabhupada differentiates then that in front of Mother Devaki, the Lord appeared as Narayan in four-handed form. But once in many, many millions of years, Krishna appears in his original transcendental form. First, in the previous verse in purport, Prabhupada said, Krishna is like a touchstone. And what was the quality of that Vaidurya? That it can change colors, but it remains the same stone. So different colors are different incarnation, but then there is an original color of that stone. That original color is Krishna. So similarly, the Lord appears in his original transcendental form as well. It is different from his other incarnations. Ramadi Murtishu. Not that. And he performs his pastimes. So this way, in the previous verse, we only looked at the Lord's superiority in terms of memory, that his memory is unlimited and ours is tiny. But now when we came to the next verse, we saw the distinction. Although I am the unborn. Now go back to the verse and see again. Although I am the unborn and the infallible, still I appear. So the difference between being born and appear, born is forced, appear is choice. Krishna is unborn, means he can't be forced to take birth. Appear is when I feel compassionate on the living entities, I appear. And then we understood by the example of sun how it happens. That's why I said this purport was complicated, because Prabhupada arranged the information for us. One has to, read it, then reread it, then reread it at least 8 to 9 times. If you read, you sit and make the flow of Srila Prabhupada's thoughts, and then you come across a structure. When you arrange the data in that structure, then it appears to you, oh, this is what he's trying to say. Although I am unborn, but I appear. Then the distinction between the two words become clear with the example. Then my original transcendental form. Then you again look back and he says, okay, not other incarnations, he himself. Two-handed form with a flute. That also he's talking about. Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. There are many incarnations, but the Supreme Person is Lord Krishna. And another example is, by one candle, you can, uh, lit other 10 candles of same size, and they all look similar. The truth is still there is one which is the source of all others. That's why Krishna's tu Bhagavan. Tu means lekin, but. Tu doesn't mean you. Krishna's tu Bhagavan, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are many aspects which you need to look at when you read a verse like this. It's technical in nature. Today you understood the difference between being born and appearing, death and disappearance, reason for appearance, reason for birth. Reason for birth is karmic reaction. Reason for appearance is compassion. Reason for disappearance is the compassion to be passed on to other living entities. Reason for death is forced. Then original transcendental form, not the other one. So this way you can connect and relate. If there is a question, I will take it. Otherwise, I'll wrap it up today. And Rashmi Mataji has a question. Please go ahead, Mother.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dharmapram. Prabhuji, very, very wonderful class, very thankful. Prabhuji, I want to ask you, Prabhuji, that when you were telling that Krishna appears in one planet and then he may perform some pastime in another planet. And so I want to ask you that when we talk of planets, then which planets are these? Like चौदह भुवन वो वाले हैं
Oh,
या
no,
फिर
no, 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 no. Brahmand.
तो
Different.
planet means
Okay, here, Mataji, the one is intra Brahmand, another is inter Brahmand. Chaturmukhi Brahma has this Brahmand with 14 planets. Then there is Panchamukhi Brahma, and Shatamukhi Brahma, and Saptamukhi Brahma, and then unlimited Mukhi Brahma. So when Brahma went to Dwarka, then the gatekeeper went and informed Dwarkadhish. He said, my dear Lord, Brahmaji has arrived and he wants an audience with you. So Dwarkadhish said, go and ask him which Brahma is he. So Brahmaji was wondering that, is there any other Brahma? I'm not even aware of that. So when he went to meet the Lord, he said, my dear Lord, is there any other Brahma besides me? And then he suddenly saw all the other Brahmas with multiple heads bowing down to Krishna. Those Brahmas couldn't see four-headed Brahma. But four-headed Brahma got the opportunity to see the other Brahmas. And then he understood that he is managing the tiniest Brahmand, which means in all those Brahmands also Krishna is performing pastimes. So it is inter-Brahmand in that sense. And also, Mataji, in Nagalok, Yaksh, Kinnar, Swarg, Janalok, Taplok, multiple places, the Lord is continuously overwhelmed with compassion. So he's giving opportunity of darshan, of audience, of direct pastimes, depending on the consciousness of the living entity. He's bestowing mercy on multiple planets. So like that you have to understand.
So Prabhuji, that
Did it?
means
You can
planet. That means
please
planet.
ask.
When we say planet, so it's different from what planets we had learned in science, like Jupiter, Mars, Mercury. So these are not the planets; they are universes we are talking about, right?
Yes, and also Mataji, land of Mars, which is being referred as Jupiter, or Mars, and so on and so forth. I am referring to access to life. Okay,
Okay.
thank you for asking this question.
Thank
When
you.
we
Thank
talk
you so much,
about
Prabhuji.
sun, no, I'm answering you. When we talk about sun, then Prabhupada immediately corrects. He says the living entity in sun planet, their bodies are made of fire, but they also have desire. They also have sense gratification. Chandralok, the people have different type of bodies. It's not made of, you know, mud or dirt, as we say. It's made of a different element. And therefore, the Lord incarnates there also in a different body altogether. But He is fulfilling multiple desires of all living entities, spread across unlimited universes. It is baffling, actually. He is He is just way, way, way too good. Even forget about compassion. The sheer vastness is maddening. These guys, where they are going, the scientists, they are going to land of masses, looking at another life. They say, "Ah, we are looking at life," but they're actually looking for humans. When they change this thinking pattern from looking for humans to looking for existence of life in other form, but because they can't relate with other form. I mean, if fire bodied people come to them, they can't figure out. They'll say, just a simple fire coming to me. So the limitations, therefore, when Prabhupada said, no, they never went to the moon, I don't know where did they go. Because you can't access moon like that. You can't access sun planet also like that. So it might be that you're just looking at the gross part of it and you have no idea of life over there. I'm not going into superiority of Vedic life and material scientists are foolish. I'm not going there. I'm just saying the road to access it is through consciousness, not through aeroplanes. If one can understand this much, then he will change the direction of his endeavors. Rashmi Mataji, the day you, not you, everyone, the day we think that I will always keep it secret, Krishna, now tell me, you will know everything. But we know the moment something is revealed to us, due to our false ego, we'll go and in the name of sharing, we will tom. So nothing is ever revealed to us. And it is revealed to the pure devotees. And pure devotees, like, I'm sorry for taking time, but one more minute. If somebody comes to us and tells us, what do you want? You want to understand life on Jupiter or Vrindavan? What would you choose? It's a question to you, Rashmi Mataji. Which one would you choose? Life in on Jupiter or life in Vrindavan?
Prabhuji, life in Vrindavan. Life in
Why?
Vrindavan.
You're a doctor. You should go to Jupiter and waste time. We never challenge Krishna. We love Krishna. We serve him. We want to see him happy. So we don't want to decode him. It's not an escapism. It's our love for him. You want to decode means you want to supersede. चक्कर क्या है यार, एक बार समझू मैं इसकी पार पालू, गया काम से, कभी नहीं पाएगा. Very difficult. And one who surrenders, Krishna surrenders. I'm yours. That's why Rahim said, दिनेश महेश सुरेश मुझे पार नहीं पावे, ताहे अहिर की छोहरियां छछिया भरी छाछ पे नाच नचावे. You know, the simple cowherd women of Braj, they made him dance, saying, "We will give you a little bit of clarified butter, or sorry, not clarified butter, buttermilk, but you first dance." And the Lord danced because those women were simple. They didn't want to exploit Krishna. Very simple, but very difficult. Thank you, Mataji. Through your question, maybe other people also benefited. Thank you, dear devotees. We will meet next week.
एक
And
क्वेश्चन
we'll
छोटा सा
continue.
और है प्रभु जी. हरे कृष्ण
Thank you
प्रभु
so
जी.
much.
हाँ हाँ माताजी पूछिए.
एक छोटा
जी
सा.
प्रभु
पूछिए
जी,
माताजी.
ये लाइक यहाँ पे ये लाइन है ना प्रभु जी, आई स्टिल अपीयर इन एवरी मिलेनियम इन माय ओरिजिनल ट्रांसेंडेंटल फॉर्म. सो मिलेनियम मींस प्रभु जी सतयुग, द्वापर युग, ऑल कंबाइंड इनटू वन युग, लाइक दैट टाइम प्रभु जी.
नहीं प्रभु जी, यहाँ पर मिलेनियम युगे युगे कहा जाता है generally. So the scale actually is not very clear here, in the sense that one is our millennium, you know,
Okay,
which
understood.
is, but the scale differs for demigods. For 6 months, ours is their one day. Then our next 6 months is their one night. So in one full year, they only spend 24 hours. So, you know, and the Lord appears in his various forms in every yug. So there are Satyug incarnations, there are Dwapar incarnations, there are Treta incarnations.
Yeah,
Amongst
but
them, there
Prabhuji
is Rape
actually,
incarnation.
sorry.
No, please go ahead.
But here they have written in every millennium in my original transcendental form. So like,
Yes, he would appear once, I think in 26 Chaturyugis when they finish. Then he appears once as Krishna himself, not as Vishnu, not as Ram, not as any other thing.
Okay.
So when Krishna appears, which happened just 5,000 years back, right after him Lord Chaitanya appears, which means the next Dwapar, which will come, Badri Vishal Prabhu, Krishna won't appear. What does that mean? It means there will be no rasa dance. Why? Because Krishna enjoys parakiya ras, Vishnu does not. So the Lord duly marries and spends a life like a grahastha. So all these pastimes don't happen.
Okay.
But Krishna, the main person, appears after every 26 Chaturyugi, means 4 yug together makes one Chaturyugi. And if you multiply 26 of them, after that, Krishna appears. So that's how it is.
Thank you.
The idea is not the maths of it, if you know what I mean. The idea is appreciation will generate respect. Respect, prolonged respect will generate mood of service. Mood of service will generate love for God. And love for God is the supreme position of a living entity. So go in that direction. Thank you very much. We'll meet next week. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki jai. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय. जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्रील गुरु महाराज की जय. आप सभी भक्तों की जय. निताई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंद. हरि हरि. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranams, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Pranams to everyone.